Do you keep on putting off and procrastinating on tasks and want to know why? In this video, we're going to be sharing 5 most common reasons for procrastination and how you can overcome them. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Yasmin.
And I'm Nadia.
If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and the bell so you're notified every time we upload a new video on how to transform your life from stressed and unfulfilled to joyful and balanced. So although we've achieved many successes, from buying and renovating our houses to getting our law degree whilst working full time, we procrastinated a lot during those times. And when we actually realised why we were procrastinating, we were able to overcome a lot of that procrastination and become even more efficient. And we're going to share with you how. So the first reason for procrastination is that you are stressed, burnt out or exhausted. So one of the reasons you may be procrastinating is that you are in a state of stress and burnout. So when you're stressed and you're overwhelmed, of course your mind is going to look for ways to escape work and avoid that work so that it can find more fun and easy things to do. Your mind doesn't want to sit and focus and work when you are exhausted or stressed, because the idea of work in that state just makes you feel overwhelmed. By procrastinating, your mind gets to relax. So it's important to figure out what it is that's actually stressing you out. It's unlikely to be the work itself, but rather fears. Fears that you're doing something wrong, that it's not good enough, it's not going to work out, self-doubt in yourself, or even fears around other areas of your life. Perhaps you're having relationship or financial difficulties and that's sitting on your mind and it needs to be resolved. In this situation, what usually happens is we procrastinate and beat ourselves up about it, think we are lazy or we're not good enough. Instead, what we want you to do is to have self-compassion. Acknowledge that there are things in your life that are currently stressing you out. Forgive yourself for anything that may have led you here and say to yourself, I'm here now, I'm feeling stressed, but I'm going to do the best that I can and I'm going to get on with this work. So if you are coming from a place of self-compassion instead of self-criticism, you actually end up taking some of that stress and that pressure off so you can push through and get what you need to done. So give yourself the gift of taking the pressure off yourself. Perhaps say to yourself, I'm going to do 10 minutes and then I'm going to stop. Or I've got this big task, I'm going to break it up into loads of tasks and I'm going to do the smallest task. We often talk about shadow work on this channel, and it's such a great tool for this process of forgiving yourself and empowering yourself to move forward. So if you want to find out more about this, check out our video on what is your shadow and shadow work. So the second reason is that you're making things too complex. So a popular quote from Tony Robbins is, complexity is the enemy of execution. He states that the more complex you make something, the less likely you are to follow through. What happens is when you make something too complex, it overwhelms you, so it makes it harder to start and get going, which makes you more likely to procrastinate. We have all been sold this idea that things that are good, worth doing, or make you successful are complicated and complex, but this just isn't true. The more simple things are, the better they usually work, and the more consistent you usually are with them, because you don't have that resistance to starting due to the overwhelm. So if this is a reason for your procrastination, try to simplify the tasks you have to do. Try to make them more simple or easier. At least break them down into smaller chunks so that you can start working on it, gain some momentum on it, and help yourself stop procrastinating. The third reason you may be procrastinating is that you don't like what you are doing. It's important to realize that sometimes we procrastinate because we don't have any joy, passion, or excitement for what we are doing. If you are forcing yourself to do something that you really don't want to do, or you've been forcing yourself to do something for a really long time, then it's likely that your procrastination is progressively getting worse because you're getting more and more fed up with what you're doing because you just don't have the joy for it. Sometimes fear gets in the way, but in most cases, if you truly love something and the process of it brings you joy, then you'll naturally want to do it because it naturally makes you feel good. But if it doesn't bring you joy and it doesn't make you happy, then you will want to avoid it and you'll end up procrastinating on it. However, of course, there may be a situation where you don't have joy and love for what you're doing, but you have to do it anyway. So you need to overcome the procrastination. And when you're in a situation like this, what we would recommend that you do is find the joy in the task itself. If the task doesn't bring you joy, try and find a joy within that task. So an example of this is perhaps you have to work outside, which you hate, but then again you love nature, so you appreciate the joy of being in nature. Or perhaps you don't enjoy the task you have to do in your job as a manager, but you enjoy talking to and guiding people, so you can then find the joy in coaching your team. So if you cannot change direction to find work that brings you joy, find the joy in the work that you are doing so it's easier to overcome your procrastination. So we'd love it if you commented down below and shared some ideas of what you do and what you have to do in your life that you don't particularly like doing, but you still find some elements of joy within that task. So the fourth reason is that you have a fear of failure. So for most of us, the greater the risk of failure, the less likely we are to want to take action. This is because we have such strong beliefs about what failure means about us. We believe that it means we are less or not good enough or we're not worthy enough. And we have a massive fear of being judged, criticized, or labeled a failure. The problem with this is that anything new, different, or worth pursuing has within it the possibility of failure. And if we avoid the risk altogether, then we won't end up doing something worth doing, or we'll end up procrastinating forever. This procrastination is often made much worse if you're a perfectionist. This is because your version of success is so much harder to reach because your standards are so extremely high, and nothing is ever good enough, making failure almost guaranteed, and therefore making it more likely for you to procrastinate and avoid the activity. Now, there are several things to be aware of when it comes to procrastination due to fear of failure. You have to realize that the fear is unlikely to just one day go away, which means you have to find a strong enough reason to push through the fear of failure and do what you need to do anyway with the fear still present. To help you do this and push through to take action, you need to identify where the fear of failure originated from and what beliefs you have about what failure means. We have to realize that we were never born with this fear of failing. When we were babies, we used to fall 100 times and we used to just get back up without the thought of giving up ever crossing our minds. However, somewhere along the line, we learned that failure is uncomfortable. It leads to being criticized or judged in some way, which makes us feel that we're not good enough. If we can identify where our fear of failure came from, whether it was a specific event or it was very critical caregivers, then we can start to acknowledge and deal with the beliefs and then use that understanding to change what we make failure mean, so we can then make ourselves push through and take action. At the end of the day, if we have a belief that failure means we're not good enough or we're defective in some way, of course we're going to avoid that activity because we're not going to want to risk feeling those things. But the truth is that failing has nothing to do with your worth or value as a human being. All it may mean is that in that particular instance, you didn't acquire the relevant skills or give the task enough time to be successful at it. So ask yourself what failure means to you, because by changing your beliefs around failing and what failure means, then you can take massive action, make massive changes and overcome your procrastination. So another reason you may be procrastinating is that there is no immediate return. So sometimes we procrastinate because what we want to do does not provide us with instant gratification. So we'd rather go and do something that does provide us with instant gratification instead of delayed gratification. So a lot of our goals and achievements take time. They take continuous steps of action to get us to the result, and therefore we don't see the reward from our efforts straight away. So our brains know what our goals are, how much effort we're putting into those goals, and how far along we are progressing towards those goals. So when we feel like there is no instant reward and we don't feel like we're getting anywhere, it makes us want to give up. So we are more likely to put things off and not do the work because we feel a little bit unmotivated and deflated. So watching a film or having a nice meal when you're hungry or going out will often, for many people, provide that instant gratification. But for a lot of people, doing a day at their job or working on their business won't have the same effect. So there are two ways that you can overcome this. The first way is to give yourself alternative rewards for the work that you are doing. So an example of this is if you are someone who's starting a business and perhaps you have to produce a lot of content, but of course when you're at the start of your business, perhaps when you put out that content you're not getting the same reward and gratification and appreciation for your work because you're just at the start of your business, so you don't have a lot of visibility or clients. And so to motivate yourself by giving yourself instant gratification, you can either give yourself a challenge like, I'm going to do these 5 bits of work, and if you feel instant gratification from that, give yourself the challenge. Or alternatively, once you do a certain amount of work, you can give yourself the reward of having a meal out or buying a new book or whatever makes you feel a sense of gratification and reward. Another way to stop instant gratification from making you procrastinate is to create a larger vision that drives you to work despite not receiving instant gratification. So what vision would really justify you making sacrifices? What can you see for your future that will drive you so much now to get on and do the work? So even sitting down and really visualizing and thinking about the sort of future that you want to create for yourself can really stop instant gratification from running the show, because your mind will become so consumed by the future and the vision that you want to create if you create a really exciting vision for yourself, and then you will want to do the work. That's it for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe and comment, and until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.